episode 7, season 2 of the Dave Whitty Show. I'm your host, Dave Whitty. Folks, as always, this podcast is brought to you by Lamb's Rum. Lamb's is one of the top choices for Newfoundlanders who love the authentic, smooth taste. Enjoy Lamb's Palm Breeze a day with a splash of Coke and lime wedge, or for something different, try Lamb's Spice on its own on the rocks. Lamb's the best choice for hard-working Newfoundlanders, and at a great price, find Lamb's Rum at all of your local NLCs. Also, keep an eye out at the end of this month for new Lamb's Spiced Rum Punch beverage in ready-to-drink cans, locally made, brand new, and looking tasty. Well, welcome back, guys. Thanks so much for joining me. Happy to be back for another episode. Got another really fun episode this week. First off, I want to thank Sandra Lee Layden for joining me last episode. It was so great to catch up with Sandra. She is just the absolute best. Can't wait to see her when she's back shooting Iceberg and shooting George Street Festival. And if you haven't, go check out her website and check out her social media. She is one of the best in the country at doing what she does. And happy to call her a friend. So great to get her on for a chat last episode. Another really fun episode this week, guys. Fresh off their ECMA win at the, obviously, the East Coast Music Awards with Quote the Raven, Jordan Coaker and Kirsten Rodden-Clarke. So happy to have them on. We had a great chat all about their latest record, all about their week at the ECMAs, their big win, what's coming up for them. So stick around later on in the episode for that chat. It was really great to catch up with them. A few things going on over here. Played a really fun show at the Bull last weekend. Thanks to everybody for coming out. Thanks to Tino and thanks to all the staff at the Bull for having me. It was a really, really fun night. Got to play a bunch of really fun tunes and got to see a bunch of people who I hadn't seen in a while. So always love playing that room. It's one of my favorites in the city. You don't need a whole lot of people to really make it feel like homey, and just a blast playing there. I really, really love it. So thanks again to all the crowd at the Bull. It is finally spring in St. John's. Oh my God, this is so nice. It's been such nice weather the last couple days. I don't want to jinx it, but absolutely beautiful. Early in the season, too. I mean, it's only the beginning of May, and it's been absolutely fantastic the last few days. I am recording on Tuesday, May 10th, and it is just an absolute beautiful day out there. I've actually been out golfing a few times, which is surprising for this time of year. Been beautiful. I don't know if you can see, if you're watching on YouTube right now, my nose is a little rouge. I think that was from the other day out golfing, and it was just been beautiful weather. The ECMA, as I just mentioned, that Quote the Raven had won their award there for Contemporary Roots Recording of the Year. They handed out all the awards there Friday night. I'm going to run down through them. Obviously, for the Newfoundlanders, Contemporary Roots Recording of the Year, Quote the Raven for Can't Hold a Light. Rock Recording of the Year went to Kelly McMichael for Waves, who absolutely rules. Really want to get Kelly on sometime to have a chat. Her style and her tunes are absolutely awesome. Songwriter of the Year went to Ruben Rake. Really great guys, fantastic songwriters. Artist Innovator of the Year in light of COVID-19 went to Mallory Johnson, and I can't see anybody who deserved this award more. She is always on the ball. Had Mallory on last season. Was super great to catch up with her, and she's always pumping out products. She's always pumping out tunes, pumping out videos. So she is really on the ball. You got to hand it to Mallory. So congrats to her. Immediate Person of the Year, Mr. Greg Smith, also a former guest of mine. You hear him all the time on VOCM. Great guy and so deserving of this award. He's really always on board with supporting local, so congrats, Greg. Video Director of the Year, Cecil Johnson. That's Mallory's brother. He's an awesome filmmaker, awesome cat, makes really, really great videos, and I mean, if you've seen a lot of Mallory's videos, Cecil's the man behind it, so congrats to Cecil as well. Fans Choice Entertainer of the Year, Justin Fancy, another former guest of mine here. I know he was really excited about that. Was caught up with him there a couple days ago, and he was psyched on it, so congrats to Justin. And of course, Fans Choice Video of the Year goes to Mallory Johnson. So congrats to all the Newfoundlanders. The awards break down by region. There were 7 from Cape Breton, 9 from New Brunswick, 11 from Newfoundland and Labrador, 21 from Nova Scotia, and 5 from Prince Edward Island. So congrats to all the award winners. Congrats to all the nominees, and congrats to everybody who played any part in the ECMAs this weekend. Hopefully I can get up there next week, or next year, sorry, when I hopefully get some new tunes to kind of get up there and promote it around. So congrats to everybody who was involved. I know it was a big success and probably pretty challenging still with COVID and COVID going on, but it was from everything I've seen and everybody I chat with, looked like it was a really, really fun weekend. So congrats again to everybody. Speaking of congrats to the Newfoundland Growlers, who won in the first round. Took them 7 games. It was a long series, but they are in the second round. Once again, as of the day I'm here recording, they are, I think it's 1-1 in the series. They go again tonight. Tomorrow night and Thursday night here in St. John's at the Mary Brown Center. So, wishing best of luck to the Newfoundland Growlers. Hopefully going to try to get a couple of those guys on after the season finishes, hopefully as Kelly Cup champions. So if you are in St. John's, make sure you can get down and support the Growlers. The Toronto Raptors are done. Since the last time we chatted, they made a good run at it. It was challenging. I mean, they had a tough go there. They really need a couple extra pieces to fill in those roles there, and they came up against a tough Philadelphia 76ers team. So hopefully they can get a few more pieces to the puzzle and make another run at it, because they do have a good core there, and it's always fun when you see our only Canadian basketball team really going after it, because I mean, it's one of those things where everybody in Canada, you got a hockey team, but with baseball and basketball, it's really fun because we all root together. So that's really fun. Speaking of not done yet are the Toronto Maple Leafs. Oh man, this team, not going to go too crazy, too wild into it, but it's Tuesday night here. The Leafs are going tonight. Massive Game 5. You guys will be listening tomorrow. I don't know if I'll be this enthusiastic tomorrow. Hopefully I am. Series is tied 2-2 when I'm recording. Going into tonight, I mean, there's tons of great hockey going on in the playoffs. Really been exciting to watch. A lot of close series. The only team to move on, as of now, is Colorado Avalanche, who look like an absolute wagon right now. So big game tonight, Scotiabank in Toronto. It's going to really determine what happens in this series. I think it's a pivotal game in Game 5. The Blue Jays have been so fun to watch. They just played like 21 days in a row. I think yesterday was the first day they had off in 21 days. They've been fun to watch. I don't think they're fully pumping yet. I wait and see the bats get going. Pitching's been pretty good, but the bats are still a little cold. So waiting to see how that all unfolds. It's still early in the season, so much baseball to play. And it's been exciting. I actually took a course myself there a couple weeks ago, or last week, sorry, where I looking like I'm going to be making I'm not going to say a career move, but I'm going to be doing something different, but still being creative and looking like a great opportunity with in the film industry here in Newfoundland, which is about to pop off. There's so much stuff going on here, so much stuff being filmed here. And I thought it'd be a great opportunity to kind of get into just kind of get my nose in and kind of work away at something in a different creative field. Definitely still going to be working on songs, and I've got a new record planned, of course, but just something maybe to play around with this summer, and really looking forward to that as well. Thanks to all my listeners. Thanks to everybody who's been tuning in, and thanks to everybody who sent along some good messages, and a big thanks to Lamb's Rum, of course. They've been absolutely awesome in supporting this podcast. It's been really fun doing this, not going anywhere. Got lots of episodes left, got a ton of great guests coming up over the next few months, and with that being said, I'm going to pass the mic over to Jordan Coaker and Kirsten Rodden-Clarke of Quote the Raven. Stick around. And I'd like to welcome Mr. Jordan Coaker and Miss Kirsten Rodden-Clarke of Quote the Raven to the podcast. Thanks so much for doing this today, guys. How are you both doing?
I could be better, but I'm not too bad.
Yeah, we were having a little chat just before we were getting going, and I know both of you guys just had an incredible weekend at the ECMAs. We're definitely going to dig into a bunch of that stuff. Thanks so much for taking some time, by the way. I know you guys probably had a busy weekend and probably just looking to chill, but I appreciate you taking an hour out of your day to shoot some shit with me for sure. First off,
this is chill too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
First off, I mean, we will dig into the ECMAs in a bit, but kind of overall, how was it? How was the weekend for you guys?
Oh, it was awesome.
Amazing. Yeah, I think the biggest thing was just getting back together with people. Like, I know we as a band had a really exciting weekend overall, but still I would take getting together with musicians and just watching everybody play over everything. It was just like so much fun.
Yeah, it was like a big family reunion over everything. Like, it's, you see people you haven't seen in 3 years, and everybody going for the hugs and everything, and that's why I got COVID now.
Oh man. Yeah. Well, I mean, once again, thanks for doing this, especially you just said you just got COVID. So, yeah, isn't it crazy? Isn't it absolutely crazy. It's been like 3 years since like these events, man. Like, I mean, during the span of COVID, it felt like it was forever. And then now you look at it and you're like, that was 3 years ago. Like, what the hell just happened over those 3 years, man? Like, it's so crazy.
Yeah. It's weird. I'm like, oh, go ahead.
The hard thing of not being in the same room, hey? I was gonna say, like, I feel like it doesn't, for me, it doesn't feel as though it was that long, and I think it's just because it was so monotonous and like there's nothing to stand out in that time. So yeah, it's unreal to think it was that long ago. In one way, it feels like a lifetime, and in another way, it feels like we were just on tour like 2 years ago, and that wasn't that long ago. So it's I don't know. It's just so weird. So strange.
No doubt. I mean, anyways, hopefully I'd like to say we're on the back burner, but Jordan's sitting here with COVID right now. So.
But it's not as bad as it could have been. Maybe.
No, that's right. And I mean, things are slowly but surely starting to get back to normal. I mean, obviously with an event like ECMAs and getting everybody back together and, Music and L and all this stuff and getting back out on the road. I know you guys have been touring recently and you got a busy summer ahead. So, I mean, we're going to chat all that stuff. But first off, I want to talk about the new release. Latest release, Can't Hold the Light, came out October 2021. Produced by Chris Kirby, full-length 10-song album. I want to chat about the whole process. I mean, I know you guys worked a lot of this during COVID and all that stuff, a lot of co-writes with Kirby. And this line I read on your website, we had planned on putting this record out last summer. The music industry is a place where if you don't act quick, people can forget about you and that's it. Any momentum you build and all of those special moments of light and hope can flicker as soon as they appear. But you've been with us through everything. I mean, that's such a powerful line. Like, what was the thought behind that? And let's kind of dig into the record a bit.
Yeah, I mean, we recorded it the winter of 2020. We were at Chris's house in East Lawrencetown during Snowmageddon, actually. Oh, yeah. And so we had planned, like, we wrote most of the songs prior to that. And we were 2 weeks there just doing the tracking and stuff. And we're like, we're going to put this out in the summer. And we're going to keep doing the things that we'd done. And then March hit and we're like, oh, shit. Like, what are we going to do? Like, and I think we really had a good look in the mirror to say, like, we don't know how long this is going to last. We don't know what's going to happen to our career. What the hell do we do? And it was the first time that we'd actually gotten to do that since we did Golden Hour, because we've kind of been flat out since we put that record out, like, it's 4 years ago now, but at that point it had been out for 2. And so it really gave us the time to kind of assess where we were with our career and where we wanted to be with our career and whether or not we actually still wanted to do that as a career. Like, I think everybody kind of went through that phase. And so, we held off on putting the record out in the summer because couldn't tour it. It was weird to just kind of get mixing and mastering done. Like, it was, everybody was kind of stewing in their own shit for a bit and trying to figure it all out. And so we took our time. Like, it gave us the opportunity to like re-record some vocals on it and like kind of actually plan and make some strategic moves to say, all right, well, let's release some singles and try and focus on getting some radio play and go from there.
Do you think that was like advantageous in some sense that you actually got to sit on it for a little while, or was it a bummer that you couldn't get it out right away? Like, I know you mentioned just now, even just saying like you wanted to, it gave you the ability to be able to work on some radio play, to be able to release a couple singles and probably be able to reach out to different people who could probably help promote this record a little bit more, right?
Yeah. I think doing the few re-records and stuff was, it was like a double-edged thing, because I think artists can get caught up in trying to make something perfect. And even when we had originally planned to release it, like every now and again I'd be like, Jordan, I don't know about this or whatever, and Jordan's like, we don't have time, like, we're putting the album out and it sounds great. And I'm like, okay, yeah, it sounds great, And so like when we had that extra time to dig into a few things was good, but then it can also be a bad thing. For this record, I think it was just enough time to just make a few changes and redo some vocals and stuff and build the team. Like we got a booking agent in the time of COVID, and something that is kind of crazy because they didn't see us live. They had to see it through like a virtual showcase. But it gives you more time to focus on the business side of things, which is not always the most fun part, but it is essential if you want to build a career. So there were good and bad.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt about that. And I mean, I think we can all kind of relate to that, as an artist or anybody who was kind of struggling with that over COVID, with those things that were happening. I mean, just the ups and downs, the ins and outs. But I mean, it's a real struggle, definitely, to battle through and to kind of keep pushing forward. I'm sure that was a struggle for both of you guys. And like you said, you kind of got to look yourself in the mirror, right?
Oh, definitely. It's a strain on relationships. It's a strain on everything. Like, we looked at our friendship over the course of this thing too, and we were like, are we going to do this? Like, if this lasts for 5 years, can we keep playing Zoom concerts? Can we keep making music when it's such a miserable experience? And, we've had to go through some, it's like group, like band therapy sessions is what it felt like, to kind of figure out that this is what we're gonna do, and coming full circle, like when we put that record out, it was like, oh yeah, this is what we wanted to do, and if this isn't gonna take us down, and it'll take a fucking asteroid hitting Earth to do it at this point. Right. So
we almost called it quite a few times, like very, very, very close, to the point of like I had a letter written. So it was really difficult, and I'm sure a lot of bands can understand. It was.
I mean, when I kind of started this podcast, I mean, I have a ton of musicians on, I have a ton of artists, I have all sorts of different people who are creative and interesting and who do neat things, you know what I mean? But definitely one of the constant themes and one of the running themes that I've found with so many musicians is this fine line of like, all right, do I stop or do I keep going? Or like, you're just kind of teetering, and it's like, I mean, it's like with anything. It's like, soon as you get some good luck happen on your side, you're like, all right, we're back. And then but then it's like a month and you're like, oh fuck, man, this is brutal right now. Whatever the hell's going on, there's no wheels turning, there's no shows happening. So it is a very tight line to walk. And I mean, I think that's with every artist. I think people struggle with that their whole lives as an artist. I mean, especially when you're trying to make a living at it, you're trying to pay your bills, you're trying to do different things like that. And then you throw COVID on top of it, where it's like, you don't know if you don't know if it's going to end, or when it's going to end, or if you're going to be able to get back to your regular livelihood.
Oh, definitely. And it's a weird, that is a weird thing about music in and of itself. Like, it's, luck. And I think comparing yourself to other musicians is another big factor in all that stuff too. And you see someone else get success and you're like, well, I never got that. Well, like, how are we going to, and I think everybody does that. And I think what ends up happening is you create these like unrealistic expectations or these unrealistic goals that if you don't meet them in some crazy timeline, but it's like, it's so funny, because then what I've learned is getting to know the people who you see doing these things and seeing that it took them 10 years to get that one opportunity, and really knowing the backstory behind all the stuff like that's really eye-opening, because people are like, oh, well, like, you guys only put out 2 records. Like, we've only really been touring since 2018, but we've been a band since 2011, so it's like we've been playing for 7 years to get good enough to put out our first record. So I think a lot of people got to be less hard on themselves in order to really assess what their career is and the value of what they're providing to the world. Because I think it's a lot more valuable than people give themselves credit for. And it's daunting, it's hard, it's difficult, it sucks. But the good times are really good no matter how small they are. And I think people need to do that, look at that more often.
Yeah, it's always like one of those things where, people always kind of look in the present, as opposed to if you had have been, if you had to looked at yourself 5 years ago, you'd be so happy or so thrilled. Not you guys. I mean, just anybody as an artist, you'd be so thrilled at where you are in your career or your relationship or anything for that matter. I mean, no matter, but you look back and you say, oh man, I had nothing then, and I was happy to be. I would have dreamt to be where I am today, but still somehow you're still not quite happy enough. You know what I mean? It's so sometimes you kind of just got to sit down and embrace it all, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think too, the hardest thing, we always say, like, there's so much talent in, well, of course there is. Everyone knows there's so much talent in Newfoundland, but not everybody like takes or makes the investment to leave, and I think that's a point too, because there's a lot of really popular bands from Newfoundland, and yes, they are incredibly, incredibly talented. But there's so many other bands here on the island that could be just as popular, let's say, or like just as big as them or bigger. And it's just that investment and like taking the time and believing that it can happen is hard, especially now where we're like, oh, I'm going to be 30 in like a few days. And I'm still living with my grandmother. So it's like most people wouldn't want that for themselves at 30. And that's understandable. You know, people want a family and they want kids and they want all this stuff, as well as being a musician. And I think most of the time that doesn't happen like the way that they imagine it to happen.
Why do you think that is, Kirsten? Why do you think that there's certain bands or certain artists maybe that don't take that extra plunge to get off the island, to do different things? Do you find them maybe they're comfortable, or they just don't know the right tools to use, or maybe just content?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a mixture. I think if you can be content, you know, just playing music for yourself or like in a bar or wherever, and that makes you happy, then that's like, I wish everyone felt that way, because it's like, I love making music and I love to sing, but I also love that people love it. Like, I'm not going to lie about that part of it. It's really a cool thing to share it and have people enjoy it. But yeah, if you're content, that's awesome. But if you want to make a career out of it, yeah, I think it's the financial investment, probably number one, because you don't know if you're going to make the money on tour. You have no idea, especially right away, if you're not getting guarantees and you're just playing, you know, the bars that you can contact and stuff yourself. You just don't know what it's going to be like and how much money you're going to have to put into it. And that can be really hard. And also I think it's leaving your friends and your family, and it's awesome meeting new people all the time, but that can get really lonely too. You know, it's just you and your band, or it's just me and Jordan usually. So it can just be hard. You're spending so much time with this one person, and you're not getting to see the rest of your loved ones and stuff like that. So I don't know. I think it's a mixture of things, but I think if more people took a leap and they didn't base their career off their first tour,
yeah, definitely,
you know, like that first tour that doesn't make you any money, if you just
no doubt, that's some good advice right there. Yeah.
Yeah,
nobody's making any money on your first tour. I hate to break it to anybody who's listening to this right now, but that first one, you got to go out and bite the bullet on. I mean, and sometimes the second and the third, to be honest with you, but you got to make those connections. You have to go out and make the connections, not with only bars or halls or theaters, but with fans. You have to start gaining a fan base in these places to come back and at least break even, or, you know, hopefully make a little bit of cash at the end of the day. Right.
You have to want to do that too. Like, I think that's the other side of it too, is like some people are just kind of, you know, it's music is more of a emotional release and not necessarily a social gathering, you know, like, and that's something that I've struggled with. Not that I'm not social, but like I definitely like tense up in party situations where there's so much on the go. Like, I find like one-on-one conversations with people usually yield more connection than being in a party where I'm like surrounded by people and scared all the time.
I find that so interesting, because like I meet so many musicians, and I'm pretty much that exact same way, in the sense that like I can get up and put on a big show on stage, and everyone thinks you're putting off this big party in the show, and as soon as I got off stage, I'm like, I need to go hide from everybody right now for like at least an hour. Like, it's just to kind of get that down, you know. With Can't Hold the Light, what I love about this record a lot, like I listened to the whole thing probably 2 or 3 times front to back today. It's got the classic Quote the Raven sound, like it's super present, but it's surrounded by all these different instruments, sounds, backfillers. Like, it's truly lovely, and there's some real rockin' tunes on here. Through the Night is just a rockin' tune. Like, I really love that one. That one really stuck out to me today. Was that a lot of you guys? Was that a lot of Chris? Like, how did that kind of work out?
It's all
definitely
co-writing.
A mixture. Yeah. It is. I think if we had to start it, like if we had to continue just the two of us writing, well, Jordan wrote most of our songs when we first started. And I still am like, am I a songwriter? I don't really know. But if we had to just continued writing the two of us, yeah, I think our music would be very different than it is now. It's definitely...
It'd be really sad. It'd just be sad all the time.
It would be so sad.
It's all ballads.
Yeah.
Well, that was something I definitely wanted to ask you about, because I know you guys are huge in co-writing. Like, can you talk about some of the advantages that that you guys get by co-writing with other artists, and talk about some of the artists that you did co-write with, especially on this latest record?
I think like when we did our first record, like our EP even, those were songs that I'd written over 10 years, and we had road tested at the Levy, to one person for like 3 years, like literally 3 or 4 years, like this one song. And then we started co-writing, and we were like, whoa, this process really goes through a rapid fire like editing session. You know what I mean? So it's like all the ideas that you're unsure, you're uncertain about get put through another strainer. And so like you work out so much bullshit in like 30 minutes that you would take 5 or 6 years on the road trying to figure out, does this melody make sense? Do I like this line? Like, what do I think? And just that reassurance and that collaborative effort from other people is so amazing. And I think what we've done is become better songwriters by working with different people, because everybody has something unique to bring to the table, good or bad. And that's the thing that you have to do as a musician, is to look at it subjectively, objectively, and say like, okay, well, I had a really good write with this person, and let's do it again. But like, also, what do they bring to the table? Well, they're really good with lyrical content or melodic content, or they're really good listener, or there's so many different little factors that kind of come into play all the time. Writing with Chris, he has like little quips that he kind of throws out. He's like, there's not enough furniture in a verse or something like that, meaning that like, you can see the room, but you don't know what's in the room, for each verse, and diving into those elements, and then being able to bring that to the next co-writing session has always been amazing. Just writing with people like Charlie Acor, for example, who we wrote Through the Night with, like that bluesy, like open, like drop D kind of vibe, like that is him combining with our, like the story about turning left in a roundabout is my mom turning left in the first roundabout there by the airport, and like legit, like just being like, I don't know how to drive this, and it's legit, like, so it's all those things that just kind of combine, and it's as much us as a duo as it is the co-writer that we're working with. And I think there's something really magical about that, because like it just feels like a big family working on this record, as opposed to just the two of us playing Nintendo Switch and just hiding out in a hotel room between shows.
Yeah, I mean, it's always great too, especially when you kind of bring an idea to somebody, or if you're co-writing with someone, or even just hanging out playing tunes or whatever. I mean, you bring an idea maybe that you're not so confident in, and somebody reassures you with that. You're like, okay, damn, maybe that is the right, or the opposite. I mean, you also have to be able to take constructive criticism in times like these when you're writing with people. Someone might say, listen, man, I love this line here, but this line here is shit. Like, we got to switch this one up. I mean, I'm sure that happens all the time. And I mean, that's the positive and the negative, not negatives at all. It's the positives of doing both, the co-writes with all these different artists.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. It's like, it's a strange experience, because you're like telling people like what you kind of want to write about, and you're like, do they relate to this, and can they help write it? But most of the time they can, because we're humans and we go through a lot of the same kinds of things. But I also like it because it's like, if someone else comes up with the idea of the song and it's something that I haven't really experienced, it's really cool to, I don't know, like learn about that or whatever, and like
be that character.
Yeah, and like bring your experiences to it that can sort of relate, but maybe not exactly. And everyone lives such different lives, and I don't think that art necessarily has to be exactly from your perspective all the time. And but yeah, co-writes are, I mean, I know I just said I don't know if I consider myself a writer, but I definitely have gotten so much better doing co-writes, and it's been a huge thing for our career.
I don't know if you guys just seen this thing pop up on the Zoom meeting here. Did you see that?
No.
Okay, no.
The time.
That's okay. It's okay. So I'm just going to mention that. I mean, I don't really give a shit anyways, but if what we'll do is, this is going to see, when you have 3 people, for everybody who's listening at home, when you have 3 people, it gives you a certain time limit for recording. So I'll probably cut this at like 2 minutes, and we'll just jump back on for another one. It's just make it a little bit easier editing for me. That's for you folks at home. So I wanted to ask you about the title track, Can't Hold a Light. Where did the song come from? And what was the inspiration and reasoning behind using it as a title track?
I was gonna say right quick, actually, it's a
Yeah.
really good thing for this song in particular that we had time because it was a last minute ad. But
Oh,
Jordan,
cool.
you
Yeah.
go ahead. You explain.
Yeah, so Stephen Bowers, who's originally from Newfoundland, Labrador, living in BC now, he messaged. I think we had planned to do like a co-write like years ago when he played it at the Ship, and like I say, like time kind of we had a bit of time to just pick up rights, and him being in BC and us being here, we did like a 6-hour time difference Zoom call, and he, I think I had the premise for the verse or something like that, or just a chord progression. I can't even remember, but it was pretty bare bones. And I just remember Steven listening to it and be like, wow, like I have so many things that I could bring to this. And it ended up like really taking form, like through him and like through co-writing with him. And it's from the perspective, like Kirsten's got a niece, who's in kindergarten now, right? Like, it's crazy. My sister was pregnant at the time, so I was gonna have my first niece, and Stephen Bowers has a young daughter as well, and so it was from all three different perspectives of what it would be like to kind of be in a child's life, like whether it's as a parent or as an aunt or a mentor or whatever. And how you can influence someone for so long as that person, but you can't do it forever, and eventually they become their own person, and you can't hold the light forever, and you just kind of hope that when they're ready. Like I think about my younger sister who's 11 years younger than me, like I remember growing up and showing her like, all right, here's Rush and here's City and Color, just like, it's cool that you like Hannah Montana, but like here's another song just to listen to. And you don't have to like it. I just would love if you'd listen to it. And it was funny because like 10 years later I hear her listening to System of a Down, and she found it on her own, and I was like, I did my job. Yeah, and I just think about that, like I wasn't me who told her to go listen to System or Nirvana or something. Like she found that music on her own, and I think that was really cool. And I think that was definitely the inspiration for that song. And when we did this one separate with the evils of life, yeah.
Like you try to protect the children in your life for as long as you can, and then you realize that the world is scary out there, and you just have to try to teach them as much as you can.
So I think you just mentioned that it was a late edition. So did you have an original idea for the title of the record, and then you kind of went with that, or did it just kind of work out that way?
I don't think we did. Like I think we were racking our brains around it, and we ended up doing that right. And we actually got Jason Mingo to produce that one separate, because everything else was produced by Kirby. Mm-hmm. And it just like felt like, which is interesting because like usually when you do a record with a producer, like it becomes this cohesive package. But once we got that track back, we were like, it's kind of magical that all of these pieces kind of fell together the way that they did, and the song came together so quickly, and we recorded it so quickly and all that stuff, and it just made sense that it fit into the timeline of everything, that it was like, I don't know, it was just like fate for it to be a part of the record, and then become the name of the record. And I think it also reflects so many things, can't hold the light. Like I think everything about Golden Hour, this is like the opposite of it, in the sense that we were looking for the sunshine, and then the sunshine got ripped away from our feet, and I'm only thinking about that right now and getting a little bit of goosebumps thinking about it, because I didn't even think about it until that point. So
no, you make a great point there. And I mean, it must have been kind of a relief. I guess that probably just hit you at some point. You were like, all right, I think this is the one. This is probably the title track, and one we can kind of run with. And it just has such a broad horizon on what you can explain it as. And I mean, you guys just both nailed it. I mean, I've been kind of in the same position myself with young nephews and stuff. And you're kind of like, trying to hide the evil, but then you're realizing like, okay, it's a scary world out there. There's going to be knocks, there's going to be bruises, but hopefully we can all get through it together, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, we were just chatting about the new record, and obviously that's kind of what you took to ECMAs with you. ECMA 2022 Contemporary Roots Recording of the Year. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
A quote from a recent Facebook post reads, There were a lot of times over the past couple of years where we doubted ourselves so much, so many nights questioning how we're going to make it from one day to the next without being able to be out into the world to do what we love. But we kept holding out, and we kept being lifted and supported by so many people here on the East Coast. How was that moment for you? You guys must have been super psyched this weekend with that.
It's just I don't know. I awards are wild. I don't know. It's a weird thing. Like, we've never really prepped a speech because we were like, well, whatever. I don't think it's gonna happen. So, so we didn't have a speech prepared, and I went out and I thanked the thousands of musicians who worked on our record. And
after Jordan was like, I don't know what I said. She was like, I know I said we worked with thousands of people. That's not true. And I was like, Jordan, I'm pretty sure everyone's going to know you were exaggerating. It's okay. No one's going to take that, 100%.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know. We were very surprised. It's so awkward to talk to people sometimes for me. So it was a little nerve-wracking, but it was really cool, surreal. It's so nice to know that everyone's hard work and that we can share it with so many people. Anyone who wrote on it or helped play an instrument on it or did really anything, shared it, talked about it, loved it. It's just such a group effort, and it was really cool. A little surreal, but it was awesome. Music also is so subjective, and I always think it's interesting that the awards are a thing, and it's nice to be recognized by people who are in the music industry and stuff like that. But and I guess you don't always love your own band's music the most, but it's so funny because you're up against people and you're like, but their album is so good, and if I had to vote, it's it's just a weird thing, but it's still really nice to get recognized, and obviously be a lie not to say it wasn't a thrill. It's really cool.
Yeah. Especially, I mean, it's always nice to be pumped up, but especially amongst your peers. I mean, especially in so many great artists and a ton of great artists in that category. And another real neat thing for you guys was you got to actually perform at the awards show. What was that experience like? I know you had to.
My favorite part.
It looked like a blast. I've seen a ton of videos. Who did you have playing with you? And talk a little bit about the performance itself.
So we had Claire Follett on the bass, Dan George on the drums, and we had our Chris Kirby on electric, and it was a lot of fun. It was kind of cool because Chris never really got a chance to do the whole band thing until we were there, because Chris lives in Nova Scotia and everybody else is from home. So we knew Chris was just gonna have it in the bag anyways. But because he produced. Yeah, he produced it and put the guitar part on it, but B, just because he's such a professional all the time, and it was so much fun. A lot of nervous energy, but just to be up there on those awards is so cool, and to be behind the scenes and watch Tony Murray going through the process of organizing the whole thing and absolutely
killing it as always.
Yeah, Tony, man, is just a legend. He's absolute legend, man.
Yeah, he does this I think 30 years or something. He's done 30 ECMAs, write and produce the show. It's
unreal. Yeah.
So much.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Nervous. No, I was just gonna say I was so nervous. Watching it back, I think it sounds like I was more nervous than I actually felt. So that kind of sucks, but it was so much fun. Dan is an amazing drummer. Everyone knows he plays in every band. He's just killer, and Claire, so talented, unreal talent, and always wanted to play with her. So really happy that she could be there. But even just watching her showcase after, and I sang on her album a little bit of backup vocals and stuff, but I never really got to see her live, and she's just incredible. So
she's a rock star.
Yeah, actually, I had Claire on the podcast last year. I had Dan on the podcast last year. I had Tony Murray on the podcast last year. I'll have to get Kirby on, and then we'll call it have the whole Quote for Even group on. That'd be great.
I love it.
Just before ECMAs, I know you guys were out on the road. You were doing a few shows. Talk a little bit about that. Where'd you play, and what was that was basically a lead up into ECMAs, right? That's kind of how it worked.
Yeah, so we made a plan when we did ECMAs a couple of years ago that if we're gonna do it, to try and make it make sense. And so part of that is to strategically tour into it. And I think a lot more artists should look into that, because it does a multitude of things. I think it looks good to export buyers, the fact that you're actually exporting while you're leading up to the showcase at the ECMAs, or the one-on-ones or whatever, to say like, hey, like, we were just out on the road, like, we could definitely keep doing that if you want to keep us doing it. So that's a strategic move from us. We ended up playing oh my god, I'm trying to remember. We played the Carlton in Halifax. We played Great Village in Great Village. They have this beautiful art center that someone just purchased, and it's an old repurposed church. Absolutely beautiful spot. We played in Sydney. We played in the church museum there as well. That was another just so cool, like, just old stone slab, like, church building, down by the waterfront. And we played at the Trailside in PEI for the first time in the new building. We'd done the old show, but not since they've renovated and moved into Charlottetown. And so it was awesome just to be back out on the road. I think audiences are still a little apprehensive towards going to shows and stuff like that, and ticket sales are still in the apprehensive. Definitely seen more ticket sales the night of as opposed to like leading up to it and stuff. Because I think people are just deciding like the day of that it makes sense and that we can do.
Or like waiting to see if they got COVID or
yeah, definitely.
But another thing, I'm sure, like, getting out and doing those shows definitely get your chops up a bit too, get you back on stage, get you singing together, get some of the songs and the arrangements kind of worked out precisely before you probably go and present them to buyers and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. It was good to have those shows just to. Just to it's funny, it's like we practice, but like not often, and so to have like just a few shows to just like kind of remember everything and like get the feel of the stage again too, because I feel like when we first started, I was super awkward and I needed a book. I couldn't remember anything and I would get like absolutely terrified, and then over the course of like touring so much, some shows would still be like that, but for the most part I could talk to people and make a joke and like,
that's the other side of it too, is like, I mean, you do so much of that stuff on stage. Like, I mean, banter is like, you're talking about the songs, you're telling funny stories, and you're trying to relate with the audience. I mean, but to just jump out onto a stage and do that is difficult. But I find like once you get out, you can do 8 or 9 shows, then you kind of see what works, even with like what you're saying to the audience. I mean, with stuff you're talking about with different songs, and you get more comfortable in your own skin that way about just the shit you're saying to people, right?
Yeah.
Well, we've told a lot of shitty jokes.
Some don't.
Like,
we found
it's. I'm gonna try a new one to the 5 people at the bar, as opposed to the 40 people at the house concert, right? Like it's. Yeah, it's and then
an
you're
interesting
like,
thing. That's why I'm a musician, not a comedian.
Or it was, I mean, that helped too, just to have a few shows to get used to it again, because I was feeling a little bit like, oh, we haven't stepped on a stage in a while, and there's a bunch of people looking at me. I don't know about this. So yeah.
Another cool thing I wanted to ask you about was the publishing deal with Sound of Pop. I know you guys have had multiple sync placements, including what I read on your website was City TV's The Wedding Planners. Can you talk about how instrumental the publishing deal has been for you guys, and how much that's kind of helped you along the way, and maybe explain a little bit to people who were listening at home who maybe not have any idea what that is even.
Yeah, so like sync placements and like it essentially just opens up another market for money for a musician, and exposure as well. A lot of opportunities in that as well. We've been super lucky because I think our first real full-length record we did was Golden Hour, and that got a publishing deal right away. And I think as a result of that, people put us on their radar when I don't know if we were ready to be put on people's radar, but I think it was one of those things where the songs really stood out, and the songs were really strong enough that they could be placed in television and film. And as a result, we toured to meet up with the quality of the music that we were making. And I think that made us level up. It's a great source of revenue, in the sense that, it's kind of a passive income.
You're making money when you're sleeping.
Essentially, yeah, and the cool thing about, you know, like multiple syncs and you know, not having to have exclusive deals as you know, so like you can use your music in multiple places, whether it's for a commercial and then use it for a television show, and the ability to negotiate that money is pretty awesome, and I think it opens up a lot of doors where, you know, we wouldn't have had anything at all, you know, like I think, you know, you always look at the metrics, and you know, when those songs played on the winning planners, you can see that day that there was like a little boost in our Spotify numbers and the Apple Music downloads and stuff like that. And I think that's, you know, if that's a consistent source, then you can see the growth and development on top of what you're doing as an artist. And I know people who make a full-time career just placing music in syncs, and you know, like Jason Mingo, the guy who produced "Can't Hold the Light," the song, he makes a living. Like his music's been placed in like I would say probably thousands, and not exaggerating this time. Yeah, like I you know, like I see him post 1 to 2 times a week. Mm-hmm. You know, of multiple placements in different film and you know, and it's awesome, and it's like that's what, you know, kind of pays the bills and allows artists to remain being artists.
I also think it's really cool that someone would think your song would suit an emotion for a show or a movie, because that's always like when you're feeling something intense. I find anyway, if I'm watching something and I'm feeling something intense, it's like because the movie lends, or the song lends to that scene or whatever. So it's just so cool to be like, oh, they thought our song would, you know, show the emotion of whatever they're trying to get across. So like, it's also really cool, as well as being, you know. And
then like you're in your head and you're like, I wrote that song about my mom going the wrong way in a roundabout, but yeah, cool.
Yeah, totally.
No, I always love that. It's always interesting kind of taking what other people perceive your music as, especially if they don't know what it's about, or it's not a direct song. I mean, you know, it's not a direct love song or about an actual certain topic. I always found that interesting. I wanted to ask you, what's the summer like for you guys? I know I was looking down through your Facebook. I know you're doing a couple folk fests, Canmore Folk Fest, Vancouver Folk Fest. Any other cool shows happening?
We have 6 in a row. We have 6 weekends of festivals in a row.
Nice.
We've been waiting to like do up a nice little poster to kind of announce everything, but might as well do it here.
Break the news, baby.
Yeah. So we're doing Vancouver Island Folk Festival. Then we're doing Vancouver Folk Festival. We're doing Mission BC Folk Fest. We're doing Canmore Folk. We're doing Lunenburg Folk Festival, and then we're doing Grand Prairie Folk Festival. All 6 weekends in a row. We're
doing Trails, Tales, and Tunes, actually, like
right, and Iceberg Alley.
Yeah, before even those start. So
so it's a crazy summer for us. We had a couple of things lined up in 2020. Like we were kind of hoping that would happen summer 2020, and obviously they didn't happen. And we had kind of questioned whether or not, like, when we do get back to touring, are we going to have to go back to those places where we played, where it was like, you know, 3 people and the bartender and you know everybody knows that grind, and we were so nervous that was the grind that we had to return to. But to think that, you know, the west coast of Canada kind of opened up their arms to have us this summer is pretty amazing. And
nice, they kind of all link up a little bit together too. I guess that probably helps a little bit for travel wise and stuff. Will you stay out there? Will you be traveling back and forth? How will that work?
We're gonna stay.
I was gonna say, that's insane to be coming back and forth. It's too expensive. Oh my God, yes.
Well, I also
all the same guys. Like, I was looking at Lynx today. Have you seen that? I don't know. That's just completely off topic, but there's a new airline called Lynx. You might want to look it up, because I just seen today it's $189 to Alberta one way, which is a pretty good flight. So I think they're crazy. Yeah, they're doing some like pretty cheap flights, and I mean, we're all in the market for cheap flights.
If we had like one stop, if we had like one place we were going and coming back, we could do that. But I'm always a little bit like, if we have to get to one place and then another, it's like if something doesn't work out, you know, if one of them gets canceled or something, it can be a little bit scary. But if we were doing like a direct, like we're doing a gig and we just need a direct flight, definitely. That's awesome, because we're spending quite a bit on flights and accommodations and a car rental, but all of the festivals will be worth it.
Yes, absolutely. Well, guys, thanks so much for doing this. We're not finished yet. I've been doing this fun segment where I've been doing like this kind of rapid fire questions, just a laugh, just to kind of get to know you guys a little bit personally. First off, before I get into this, for folks listening at home, where can they find Quote the Raven? Tell us where we can find you.
All our stuff is on our website, quotetheravenofficial.com. Most of our handles are Quote the Raven Duo, or Twitter is Quote the Raven NL, and YouTube is just Quote the Raven. Yeah, I think we're Googleable now. Like, I think we're at the top of the search engine at least. We're not 5 or 6 down anymore.
Not a whole lot of people have Quote the Raven as band name, so Quote the Raven band.
I love that word, Googleable.
Googleable.
Googleable. All right, are you guys ready? Let's do like little rapid fire questions with Quote the Raven. All right.
I'm so bad. I'm never fast enough. Okay, I'm ready.
No, that doesn't have to be like I just call it rapid fire questions, but we can just have a laugh with it too. And how about we'll get an answer off Jordan and then Kirsten for this one. We're gonna go like that way, okay?
Okay, yeah.
Jordan's up first. McDonald's or Wendy's?
Oh shit. Wendy's. Baconator.
Oh, nice. Kirsten?
McDonald's. Nothing.
Oh, nice.
Nothing.
I honestly, I don't know if I'd be torn on both of those. I hate that question. That's why I gave it to you. You guys can both ask this or answer this collectively if you like, or separately, whatever you like. What's your favorite place to play? Favorite town to play on the East Coast, not of Newfoundland, but say the East Coast of Canada?
Oh my goodness.
Lunenburg.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same.
Yeah.
It was the first time we had done a dry festival, and everyone was just super attentive and loved the music.
Oh, isn't that so nice? Yes.
Yeah.
Nice change from the 3 people loaded at the bar trying to buy you Jameson shots or something.
Yeah.
You both can answer this one too as well. I'm sure it's probably similar, but your favorite season to tour in?
Anything but winter.
Yeah,
ABW.
Cannot drive in snow. I refused to die on tour. Basically, I know that sounds morbid, but I'm like, I'm not driving on ice.
You can answer this one first, Jordan, then we'll go to Kirsten. Do you like roller coasters? And if so, what's the favorite one you've ever been on?
I've never been on one. I probably built a Lego one though recently, and I like Roller Coaster Tycoon. That's what I'm gonna say about that.
Man, I used to play that game so much, man. That was one of my favorite games, the best.
Yeah, me too. It was
and you,
awesome.
Kirsten?
Yes, I do. I love them. Oh my gosh, can't remember, like Space Mountain maybe. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with something, but it's always good.
I'll go with Sandspit and PEI. I don't know if you guys even know what that is, but
no.
Oh man, they used to have this.
To know.
My parents used to take us to PEI like every summer, and they had this little tiny amusement park where they had this little shitty roller coaster. Me and my brother used to every summer. All right, Jordan's up first. Late night or early mornings?
Depends. Late nights when it's related to music, and early mornings when it's related to like nature, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
Late nights all the time. would sleep in the day and be alive at night.
I hear you. I'm with you there. I'll go Kirsten first on this one. Blue Rodeo or Bare Naked Ladies?
No. Why am I first? And this is so sad.
You're not going to end a relationship with them. It's just
Well, I've never seen Blue Rodeo.
You've never seen Blue Rodeo perform?
I don't think so.
They play like every week.
Not from Newfoundland.
Wait. Yes, I have. Only one time though.
I'm pretty sure they host a residency every summer on George Street.
Yeah, no, I did obviously see them that one time. That's hilarious. I'm gonna say Bare Naked Ladies though, because it was so fun, that the concert that they did at Iceberg. Okay.
Jordan?
Yeah, Bare Naked Ladies, because we opened for them. That's cool.
Yeah, that's right. I love that. Okay, we'll go back to Kirsten for this one as well. We got 4 more questions to go. Okay, guys?
Okay.
Kirsten's favorite place to get pizza in St. John's?
In St. John's?
Mm-hmm. Or I guess like the Avalon. Whatever.
I was gonna say, because pizza is like not something that I eat on a regular basis ever. So I'm the worst person to ask this. I want to just say like Piatto. I think
sure,
that's
yeah.
called, right?
Piatto's good. Yeah.
They have really good
Piatto.
caramelized onions. So
they really do. The Stephanie is a great pizza.
Yummy.
Jordan?
That is a good time, but I gotta go with the hometown favorite of Pronto Pizza. I used to call in.
Nice.
I'd ask for a Hawaiian stuffed crust with chicken, and they'd say, "Is this Jordan?"
All right, we'll go back to Jordan for the first answer on this one. What's the last TV show that you binged?
Moon Knight. Yeah, it's awesome. Really good. I didn't realize I didn't know anything about Moon Knight before I watched it, and he's just like this cool, like ancient Egyptian superhero, and I was like, this is badass. This is way more badass than I thought it was gonna be. So yeah, that.
I watched. I think it's called Heartstopper. It's on. Everyone was talking about it. It's on Netflix, and Jordan actually binged it too. Sort of. He could only hear the show. I had it just on. But yeah,
You listened to the audio version of the show.
He did, yeah.
Okay, I'll go Kirsten on this one first. What was your favorite song as a child, like a young child? Is there something that like sticks out? Like, for example, like I laugh at this all the time. Mine was "My Ding-a-Ling" by Chuck Berry.
Okay. For me, oh my goodness, I'm so bad with like timeline of how old I was, but my sister used to listen to Backstreet Boys, like,
of course,
constantly.
Yeah, classic. Yep.
So one of their songs and my favorite album is Black and Blue.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's kind of a deep cut album. Yeah.
I love it.
Oh yeah. For me, it was Digging Up Bones, Randy Travis, and Rhythm of My Heart, Rod Stewart. Like those were like two. I don't know, when my grandmother used to tell me, you used to just walk down the street singing Digging Up Bones and Rhythm of My Heart, and I just knew from that day you were gonna be. And I was like, no, you didn't. But thanks, Nan. Thanks for believing in me.
All right, and the last question. I have no idea if you guys watch hockey at all, but I thought it'd be funny just to ask you, who's going to win the Stanley Cup this year?
I have no idea who's even playing the Stanley Cup right now. I apologize for that. I will say that the only time I watch sports, I used to play sports. I love playing sports, but the only time I watch sports now and hockey is the Olympics, because I know that you have a cap on buying your players or whatever, but I just feel like the Olympics makes the most sense. You're fighting for your country, and that's.
I love that. Love that.
I don't know. Is Detroit in the running?
No, they're not. But you can give that as an answer too.
Detroit or the Anaheim Mighty Ducks. Those were my two favorite teams growing up. So
please tell us who's there so we can feel bad not knowing.
Neither of those teams are in it.
Okay.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, no,
Great.
it's all good. Guys, thanks so much for doing this. It's been an absolute blast catching up with you both. Actually, there's three of you right now because Kirsten's kitty's still in the background hanging out.
He just chilled the whole time.
I know, he's like bobbing his
cute.
arm down, just chilling. No, it's absolutely awesome. Thanks so much, guys. Really, really appreciate you taking the time to do this with me today. Jordan, I hope you feel better soon, pal. And good luck this summer, guys. Hopefully we can catch up soon in real life and then have a chat.
And do co-write.
Yeah, let's do that. That'll be so much fun.
Yeah.
I'd love to do that. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Thanks so much, guys. We'll catch up with you soon. Okay.
Awesome. All the best.
Cheers. Thanks so much to Quote the Raven for jumping on. God love Jordan. He has COVID and he's still, obviously he said he's not feeling too bad. But thanks so much for both of them for jumping on. It was really great to catch up with them. They are super awesome guys, incredible songwriters. Check out their latest release. Like I mentioned in our interview, I went down through it several times today, listened to it from front to back, and it's a really, really incredible record. And there's something special here for Newfoundland. So you got to give them the support. They're out on the road. They're traveling all over this summer. So if they're in your neck of the woods or in your neighborhood, make sure you go check out a Quote the Raven show. They're awesome. And thanks to Jordan and Kirsten for coming on. That about does it for me, guys. That's not much else going on here. Thanks so much to everybody who's been listening to the podcast. Make sure you do subscribe on my YouTube channel and follow along also on Spotify or Apple Music or wherever you listen to podcasts. Hopefully have some new news coming up next week and on a couple big shows over the summer. Keep your eyes peeled and ears peeled for late June. That's looking like a real fun one. That about does it for me, guys, from downtown St. John's, Newfoundland. I'm Dave Whitty. Peace.